everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Look Back. This is a series of videos that I do where I talk about games that I reviewed 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and 20 years ago. This time frame, the same week or so. And I tell you what I think about them now, if I think about them at all. So let's jump to 20 years ago. I reviewed Mind Trap 2, which has... So here's the thing about Mind Trap 2. I like the cards. I actually have the cards for Mind Trap 2 at my house. They're like little puzzles I can pull out and do with kids and things like that. They're nice brain teasers, but the game is terrible. 4 out of 10. The game's bad, but the questions are interesting. Rags to Riches, a stock game based on Monopoly. I said, if you like Monopoly, you'll like this. Well, guess what? I don't like Monopoly. I gave it a 6, but it's a 5 out of 10. Mammoth Hunters. So Mammoth Hunters is a game designed by Alan Moon, Ticket to Ride, and Aaron Weisblum. It's number 8 in the Aaliyah line. The line had Puerto Rico. It's just not very good. I didn't like it at all. 5 out of 10. The Penguin Ultimatum. So this is from a small company called 8 Foot Llama. If 8 Foot Llama existed today, they would have kickstarted their games. They made funny games, and this one's about penguins fighting over land. It's an okay game. It's like an area control with tiles and stuff. It's 6 out of 10. Dragonland. This is a Knizia game. Moving dragons around. Almost, it's close to a roll and write. This is one of the first games I remember playing from the German games. I was like, ooh, a 6.5. And Monkeys on the Moon, another game from 8 Foot Llama. He really likes his weird themes. And I always wonder, I don't know what happened to the designer or the company. It disappeared just a few years after these came out. But it's a nice, solid game about building technologies and just trying to get your monkey to the moon. 7 out of 10. 10 years ago, I took a look at Tales and Games, Three Little Pigs. So this is the from the series. The most famous of the series is probably Hare and Tortoise. But Three Little Pigs, it's a very, very light kids-style game. All these games are almost good enough, 6.5. Then Castellan. This is a Steve Jackson game, abstract game about building walls and surrounding things. You can buy 2 sets and play 4 players. Neat production. I like this one. The designer is Bo Beckett, who's best known for 1812, 1775, 1754, the series from Academy Games. Castaways. I was just talking to Z about this. Castaways is the deep impact to Robinson Crusoe's Armageddon. Robinson Crusoe came out same time, blew everything away. Castaways is a really neat little game, and it's been completely forgotten. But it's about exploring an island. It has some small minor flaws, like a weird semi-co-op thing. I liked it, and I've always wondered, why haven't we seen more of it? 7 out of 10. Triassic Terror. This is an area control game with dinosaurs. Not a great looking cover. And again, not a lot of people talked about it, but I enjoyed this one. 7 out of 10. Trains. So this one's a little weird. Trains I give a 7.5. And people might go, but wait, you love Dominion. You give Dominion a 10. I do. And in my review of Trains, I said, if they come out with enough expansions, this will surpass Dominion. Well, you know what? They did come out with a few more expansions, but it just didn't. The board aspect, it's basically Dominion with a board. Like, straight up a copy of Dominion with a board. But it just, that board makes the game a little bit slower, and it's still good, but not as speedy and just as satisfying as Dominion. Downfall of Pompeii from Mayfair Games, an 8 out of 10. It's a little grisly, but you have Pompeii, you build up the city in the first half, and you start throwing people in the volcano the second half. Fun, 8 out of 10. And Francis Drake, from Peter Hall, is the same designer as Triassic Terror. Francis Drake is another game with 2 halves to it. The first half, you're moving around this board. You can move as far as you want, the ratchet mechanism, but you can't go back. And then the second half of each turn, you're going out with ships and things, shooting cannonballs. A really cool game, 8.5. 5 years ago, I took a look at the Champion of the Wild, where you pick an animal, and they're your champion in the Olympics. It's really not that interesting at all. 5 out of 10. Shutterbug. Go find the Sasquatches and the other jackalopes of the world. Not very good from Calliope Games. Mike Elliott, 5 out of 10. Shadows in the Forest. This is a game you're supposed to play in the dark with a little light in these shadows. For kids, a really neat idea. I wish it worked better as a game, but it's still a cool idea. 6 out of 10. Cerebria, the Inside World. A big game from Mind Clash. This is basically Inside Out, the board game. You know, the emotions, and you're trying to play all these emotions. A really cool theme. Neat artwork. A lot of cool mechanisms, but it just did not gel into a game I want to play more. I like the idea of it. It's too much for too little, as it came out to be. Some people like it, but I found it to be just okay, 6 out of 10. Quinto, a very serviceable roll and write, 7 out of 10. I enjoy it, but it's forgettable. Dino Dunk. This is a flicking game where dinosaurs are playing basketball, and oddly enough, there's a sequel to this coming out this year. I saw it at Gen Con. Been 5 years, but I enjoyed this one, 7 out of 10. 5 Minute Marvel, the sequel to 5 Minute Dungeon. I thought 5 Minute Dungeon was fun, but 5 Minute Marvel's better because each person is a superhero and they have a special power, and you're working together cooperatively to play cards as fast as you can. It's not 5 minutes, but it's fun, 7.5. And The City of the Gods, or Teotihuacan, which I can never pronounce properly, but it's a great game. And I was like, why am I rating this an 8? It's actually an 8.5. It's the best of that series. All right, last year I reviewed My Shelfie, a game about putting games on a shelf. It's okay, 6 out of 10. Bird Watcher. It's about watching birds. It's trying to be Wingspan to some degree, but it's a much lesser game. It's okay, 6 out of 10. Terra Nova. You want to learn how to play Terra Mystica and stuff? This is a good way to get into that. It probably needs more, but it's enjoyable as is, 7 out of 10. Twilight Inscription, the Twilight Imperium roll and write, which when I heard, I was like, that's crazy. It is crazy, but it's actually a really solid, very involved roll and write that I like, 8 out of 10. Caesar's Empire. I don't like this as much as Chris. This is in Chris's top 10, but it's a great filler game, overproduced as you're connecting things and collecting resources. I really like how fast and simple this game is, 8 out of 10. And Flamecraft. Flamecraft is 1 year old, and it's still doing well. The cute dragons, but there's a good, fun game behind it, a 9 out of 10. So there you have it, folks. Those are the reviews I did 1, 5, 10, and 20 years ago. I'll see you next time on Look Back on the Dice Tower. Tom Vasel signing out.